Hello listener, you are welcome to Student ScoreBooster, your online tutorial provider for students preparing for JAMB, WAEC, NECO, NAPTEP examination. Today, we shall continue from our economics class, where we are trying to explain the nitty-gritty of the syllabus of economics across these exams. In particular, we shall be focusing on one of the crucial topics that has to do with this exam, that is the theory of demand. This shall be part one of this particular subject topics, and we employ you to listen to our previous lectures on economics, as we are going to be drawing some inferences based on the previous topic, especially the law of diminishing returns and some other preliminary topic we've had before this presentation. My name is Mutalib Anifowoshe, and after today's class, or after this presentation, we shall be able to explain the meaning of demand, and we expect students to be able to appreciate the law of demand, be able to explain this theoretically, and also using the diagram to be able to explain. And after then, we move straight to the concept or the factor that determine the demand for goods and services. Then we also be able to understand the demand schedules and curve. How do we develop a schedule, and how do we draw a demand curve? And one of the frequently asked questions in exam, both in WAEC and the JAMB, or O-level and A-level, is the concept of the change in demand and quantity demanded, and the change in demand. We shall be able to explain this with diagram, at the same time with explanation, which I believe we will be able to comfortably take care of this particular aspect in our forthcoming exam. Then we shall look at the type of demand. Of course, we can define demand in so many ways, but we are going to look at it from a particular perspective in this presentation. So at the end of this presentation, we shall introduce you to the concept of elasticity of demand, though we are going to do more of it in the next presentation, but at this point we introduce you to that particular concept. Now, before we start, it is important for us to remind ourselves the meaning of demand. Demand is an amount of a product, or the amount of a product that people are willing and able. Please, this is the most important point. If your examiner wants you to define this concept, you must be willing and able to purchase at each possible price during a given period of time. As I said, you can define it in any way, but you should be able to recollect that the willingness and ableness or ability to be able to do that. What's the meaning of this? We may wish to have something. For example, I wish to have a car, but am I be able to have it? If I have capacity to have that particular brand of car, then I would say I have a demand for car. But if I have, I wish to have a certain item, but I couldn't have the resources to back it up, then it's just a mere want. Okay, it's just a mere want. It's not demand, it's a want. But this time around, I must have the two, willingness and the ability to be able to have it in form of the resources and quite a number of things. When you talk about winning and ability, then it goes beyond material, but at this point we can look at only material, that is monetary concept here. And it should be at a given period of time, at a particular time, because it is a function of time also. Then another term I need to consider is quantity demanded. Quantity demanded is different from demand. Here is an amount, that is number of units of a product that an household will buy in a given period of time, if it could buy all it at all, or if at the given period of time. That is the unit of item you can have. That's a quantity element. Please be able to distinguish between quantity demanded and demand itself. Now you'll be able to buy at a given period of time if it could buy all it wanted at the current market price. That is, whatever I want to buy at the current market price and the unit of item I can buy. For example, I want to buy, let's say I want to buy let's say 2 orange bag of cement, and the 2 orange bag of cement maybe as 2,400 naira as it is now. If I have the money to take all, then I will say quantity demanded. Because if I have intention, for example, to buy 200 bag of demand of 200 bag of cement, but fortunately what I can have with me with money is only 1 orange bag of cement, then what I can only demand for is 100 or 200. So I should be able to have the capacity to do so. That is the quantity demanded. Now, the next item is what we call demand schedule. It's a table. Please take note. A table showing how much of a given product a household will be willing to buy at a different price. What by schedule is, we are going to see example as we move ahead, but let me quickly give an example. Probably I have, let's say, price, and this is a commodity. This is orange, for example. This is orange. I have orange here, and this is the price of the orange. If I should go to market, for example, and I put my price and the orange. Now at the point I can buy one, or maybe I want to buy, I have 1 naira, we buy 2 orange. When I have 3 naira, maybe buy 4 orange, or like that. This is what we should do. The price and the quantity you can buy at the point in time. It's from this schedule that we are going to determine demand curve, because it is schedule I'm going to place on curve. I'm going to show you how to do that, most especially the YX students. The examiner might give you a schedule and ask you to draw a demand curve therefrom. I've been giving you a kind of graph sheet. And also take note in your exam, whenever you are asked to draw a graph, always use the graph sheet given to you by the examiner, because that will give you opportunity to take your scale properly and earn your a very good mark. Now let's quickly look more about this schedule. Very, very important, because we have 2 types of schedule. For example, as we said, it's a tabular presentation showing different quantity of a commodity that could be demanded at a different price. That is another way of doing it. It must be in form of table. Please take note of that. It shows what I can buy at a given price. What I can buy at a given price. So we have 2 types of demand schedule. We have individual demand schedule, and we have what we call market demand schedule. Let's assume that this is Mr. A. So at the price 1, Mr. A can buy 50 products. When the price becomes 2, he can only buy 3 products at 40 products. If it becomes 3, he bought 30 products. When the price becomes 4, he bought 20 products. I want you to draw a conclusion here, that the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. You know, that's one of the things we are going to see by coming to law of demand. You can see when the price is 1, we take this. When it is 2, our demand came down, dropped systematically. Then when the price increased to 3, it also go down. When it go to 4, it go down. If you come 5, probably you might buy 5. So as we are getting, as the price is increasing, then the quantity demanded is also decreasing. So we are going to do more of that. But let's know that this is demand of Mr. A. That is individual Mr. A. However, when you come to what we call a market demand, that's the aggregate demand of everybody in that particular market. I have Mr. A demand for this. This is Mr. A demand. You can see it here. Also, we have Mr. B also demand for its own. Then Mr. C. Then continue like that. Then what we call market schedule or market demand is the aggregate. This plus this 95 plus this 135. This plus this 70 plus this 108. This one 55, 85. Here's 20, 40. That is 60. So here is what we call aggregate demand. Please take note. Examiner might want you in exam to draw individual demand curve at the same time the aggregate demand curve. Please take note of that. We should know which one is individual demand curve for a single buyer, and which one is for the aggregate. Aggregate, you must sum it together. You must look at individual demand, household, or the consumer or buyer, as case may be, add them together, then give you your the aggregate demand curve. Now let's move on to the demand curve. A demand curve can be defined as a graphical illustrating how much a given product a household will be willing to pay for at a different price. I.e., is a way through which we can present what we have in a schedule graphically. What we have in demand schedule is how we can present them graphically, is what we refer to as demand curve. For example, if you look at the our previous example, you can see that the buyer, let's take buyer A, that is with the example we just had now. We have the how do you call it, the price is A, then we have quantity A, then we take, when price is 1, for example, this man bought 50. When the price is 2, he have 40. When the price is 3, they have 30. When price is 4, they have 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is 50. Here is 40, 30, and 20. You can see what we are saying is that as you are having it, this is what we call demand curve now. Demand curve, DD. This is curve. What the curve have done is to have assisted us to present what we have. Here is 1, 50, 2, 40, 3, 30, and 4, 20. This is a do we have seen before. Now this is price, this is quantity. Now, when you take this one into graphical form, then we call it demand curve. We are told that the demand curve intersects the quantity there's x-axis. It can intersect this place as a result of time limitation and diminishing marginal utility. Remember, in our previous class, we were trying to drive a demand curve. I deliberately stopped on that. We are going to look at that one later after we have discussed the demand, because we still need to go back and take a lecture here. If you remember our immediate video on that is on the theory of consumer behaviors, video 2, we are talking about how do we derive the demand curve. But we want us to appreciate how to draw a normal demand curve before we talk about deriving demand curve from diminishing marginal utility, as we said last time. So diminishing marginal utility, we know that at that particular point in time, the marginal utility can intersect 0 whenever the total utility is at a maximum level. I think that's what we discussed in our previous lecture, which I also want you to revert back to that particular lecture on the theory of consumer behaviors. So we can have this. It can touch 0. It can cross the x-axis as we have it, and the basis is because of law of diminishing marginal utility. Then also on the y-axis, it can also touch. It can intersect with y-axis. That is, it can touch this particular axis, for example, as a result of limited income or wealth. We are going to see the importance of income and wealth on the demand. If you have a certain amount of money, that will determine the quantity you can demand for. Remember our budget line in our previous presentation. We've discussed that budget line in different curve. So I also urge you to watch that particular video so as to be able to make more meaning from what we are trying to discuss here. Another point that is very, very important at this stage is to look at the concept of consumer surplus. That is the value the consumer gets from a goods but do not have to pay for. You know, if a consumer is able to have what we call, let me call this one abnormal surplus, if I can call it like that. Actually, it's not really called, I just call it abnormal surplus for you to understand what I mean from the concept of abnormal profit. Here is that you have gotten your normal surplus, your normal benefit. You have derived the value you expect from the particular, maybe your satisfaction you need to get, your utility, you have already derived your expected utility. But when you now get more than what you are up to have gotten from the a particular goods or the service you receive. That is what we call a consumer surplus. You don't need to pay for it. Do not pay for that particular benefit you are derived. That's what we call the surplus. So this is as I said, this is part one of this particular lecture, and we shall take you through it gradually so that you can appreciate it the better. So the next thing we are going to look at briefly is some of the type of demand. Since we have looked at the meaning of demand, we understand demand, quantity demanded, we have seen demand schedule, and we have seen the demand curve. Now let's look at some type of demand. One of them is composite demand. A composite demand is the one in which goods is wanted for several purposes or different uses. When you get a particular item that can be used for different purpose, then we call that particular demand for that particular product is what we call composite demand. For example, if you demand for iron rod, it can be used for many things. For example, demand for cassava, for example. Remember, cassava can be used for so many things. Demand for crude oil is also another example of this type of demand. Examiner can ask you in a WAEC exam that demand for crude oil can be referred to as, is it composite, is it derived, is it competitive, is it complementary or joint? So please take note of this. That is a demand, or a set of a demand in which goods is wanted for several purposes. Then if you buy crude oil, for example, from it you can get your petrol, you can get kerosene, you can get gasoline, you can get some other byproduct. Quite a number of items you can get from it. Likewise, a cassava, some people make in the form of a gari. You can take fufu out of it. You can take quite a number. Some people even use it as a pounded yam, and they also, so a lot of things are here you can make out of this from this particular concept. So I believe it's very clear to you. If examiner asks you to list and explain for WAEC students, or in form of multiple choice question, you can also have to do so. The next type of demand is what we call derived demand. A derived demand, this is related to commodities that their demand depend on demand for another commodity. For example, if I'm to demand for, let's say, what do you call it, butter, I would have supposed, maybe normally I would have what we call bread. When you demand for a particular commodity, because you already demand for another commodity, that means that new commodity you demanded for is demand is derived based on demand of another commodity. That's what we call a derived demand. It depends on what the demand for a particular commodity that depends on the demand of other commodities. So anyhow you want to put it, that's what we call derived demand. Another type of demand is what we call competitive demand. This refers to the commodity that serve the same purpose. Take note of this. It serves the same purpose. So if I have a competitive demand, that means that I'm having commodity that serve the same purpose. For example, if I buy Coca-Cola or Pepsi, the two serve the same purpose. If you are tasty, you need them. Some people also additive to something form of Coke. So now if you take either Pepsi Cola or you take Coca-Cola, you are indifferent. Okay, the consumer are indifferent between the two. Not like you are giving more priority to the other. Not like one is more important to you than the other. Please take note at this point that what we are saying is that you have the same interest in the two commodity. It can give you a better, what do you call it, a better utility or satisfaction as case may be. Then the next one is the complementary or joint demand. This refers to commodities that are used together. Here now, here is very close to the derived, but don't mix them together. Here I can use bread. I can eat bread without butter. I can use butter not for purpose of taking bread. But here, as it is now, not until when we are able to have maybe what do you call it, the solar car, where that doesn't use petrol. Okay, it's possible, but as it is generally based on the normal norms as it is now, you can not drive car without having petrol. So what we are saying is that this is what we call a complementary, or we call a joint demand. You use them together. Okay, you use them together. We cannot say you cannot use petrol for another thing, but at least for the purpose of car. So the demand for car, for example, and that of petrol is what we call a joint demand. Not until when we can have car, as I said, we can have car that doesn't use petrol, then that might not be okay. So that is the what we need to take note of in terms of the type of demand. Of course, you can also read your recommended test to get more of substitute demand and some other things like that. But these are the main and the basic one that we felt that we need to shed more light on. So let's go back to the concept of schedule and curve. So that, because as I said, is a very common concept in your exam. Now you can see this example here is that we have to draw a demand table to curve. From demand table to curve. This demand table what we call schedule. Remember, this is what we call schedule last time. So demand schedule. Now we have a price per cassette. Maybe somebody is renting this DVD out for people that watch home video, for example. Now at the point when you take, let's say, 50 kobo, somebody is taking 9. You can see 50 kobo here and 9 is here. Please take note of that. I told you use it using graph. Here will be your price, here will be quantity. Are we okay? Now when it's 1 naira, it is 8. Are we okay? When it is 2 naira, it becomes 6. Are we okay? When it is 3 naira, it becomes 4. You can see. And when it is 4 naira, it becomes 2. So this is what we have here. Now at this particular point, you can see point EDCBA, the line on the same line. I told you this thing can cross. You can cross this one because of the limitation. That's the law of diminishing marginal utility. Yes, then this one is because of the scarcity of resources. So take note of that. So this point did not fall on this line. Are we okay? It's not fall on this line. Likewise, this line F. Are we okay? This point F and point G, they are outside. So they didn't fall within our normal line. That might be, this did not follow a normal demand, the law of demand, as we are going to discuss subsequently. Are we okay? So this is a curve that we have from here. This is schedule or table that we have. So please take note for the wise student that examiner may ask you to do so. Now, I want us to also look at some keywords before we move into the analysis proper, or into a further analysis. Remember, we are talking about income. Income is the sum of household wages, salary, profit, interest, rent, and other form of earning in a given period. So that is what we call, anytime you hear income within the law of demand, it's referring to all your income, all what you have, not your salary only, all the household, all put together, parent, whatever, the two parents, father and mother, and what have you, and it's a flow mail because it's coming to the company, to you. Whereas the wealth or net worth is the total value of a household owns what you have minus what you own somebody, and it's a form of stock. I think it is more clearer for some of us that we're also doing accounting, that here is just like a cash flow, here is just like net worth of the business. Remember the concept of normal goods. What we are discussing, that the demand should, when the price go up and the quantity come down, that is a form of normal goods. Our goods for which demand goes up when the income is higher, and for which demand goes down when the income lower. So, for example, now when you have a higher income, you buy more of that particular product. Do you get it? Now, if your demand, if your what do you call it, your income also fall or decreases, then you buy low of that particular item. Unlike inferior goods, are goods for which demand fall when income rises. Please take note of this. It's the reverse here. Here your price goes up or your income goes up here, then you buy less. But here, as your income goes up, you also buy more of this. As your income goes down, you buy less of this. But here the reverse is the case. As your income comes down here, then you buy more of this, what we call an inferior goods. Please take note of all this. This time they are frequently being used in JAMB exam. That is why I take them up here, so that we can understand them better. Substitute is another term that is very, very important. These are goods that can serve as replacement. I think I mentioned it previously for one another. I can use a particular, when the price of one increases, demand for the other goes up. Perfect substitute are identical products. For example, if I have let's say let me take an example here that we can use. For instance, okay, let's take Coca-Cola, Coke and Pepsi, for example. When the price of Coke goes up, then the quantity demanded of Pepsi increases because they serve the same purpose. So if they have the same purpose, by the time the price of Coke goes up, that is why in a competitive market, you only not study your own price, you also study the price of your competitors. But in any attempt for you to jack up your price, then the customer will shift to a more reasonable price to them, who will serve them the same purpose. And we are going to discuss the issue of price maker and price taker as we move further in our presentation. Another thing is a complement. We have discussed this of complement before. I'm only trying to lay more emphasis. These are goods that go together. Decrease in price of one result in the increase in the demand for the other, and vice versa. So these are things we need to take note of this by the time we get to the a proper concept. So this is just the elementary. So let's move straight to before we take one or two past questions, let's push forward and look at the law of demand. The law of demand, as I told you last time, states that there is negative or inverse relationship between the price and the quantity of a good demanded and its price. So that is the law state. The law states that there is, because sometimes I say state the law of demand. It's not the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded. No, that's just interpretation of the law. But what the law states is there is a negative or inverse relationship between the price and quantity of a good demanded. Okay, inverse. Once you have inverse, means the slope is negative. Now, this is what we mean here, a negative slope. We are going to see. When we say something has a negative or inverse relationship, that is when one is going up, the other one is taking the other side. That is the other one is coming down. For example, as the price is going up, the quantity is reducing. So here is the price, for example, moving from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. And this item will be dropping from 50, 40, like that. So you are seeing lower. That's what we call inverse. It's not positive, it's negative relationship. And that is what the law of demand is saying. That is, as the price goes up, quantity demanded comes down. As the price comes down, quantity demanded goes up for a normal product. Remember? So here is what we refer to. This is another way of, this is because the curve, we have seen the curve before. You see the curve touches this point, and we have told you why it's in doing that. So as the price moved from 3.5 to 7, what happened to quantity demanded is also dropped from 7 to 3. So as the price goes up, the quantity like that is dropping. So this is what we call the law of demand. So this means that the demand curve slope downward. Please, it slope downward like this. That's how the demand curve slope. downward, and it can touch this. Please take note. It is capable of this is the quantity demanded. This is the price of the item. As I told you, you take note. Now, one thing we need to say is that ceteris paribus. Remember what we call ceteris paribus? The ceteris paribus means everything equal. That is, all other constant, all other things remain constant. So let's explain the meaning of this term a little bit here. When we say other things remain constant, what we mean is that the other thing constant places a limitation on the application of law of demand. That is, when we say this and this, the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, or there's a negative relationship between the price and the quantity, we must say all things equal. Please, you must state it categorically. Examiner, we want you to say all other factors remain constant. So the factor that remain constant is so that if those factors are not constant, then most of the things we say might not be right. For example, if you come here, we might need to look at this, that all other factors that affect quantity demanded are assumed to remain constant. That's the meaning of this, because there are other things that can also affect. Whether they actually remain constant or not is another issue. They might not remain constant. Are we okay? But by the time you state your law of demand, they expect you to say all things being equal, or ceteris paribus, or other things remain constant. Are we okay? What are those things that may affect? One, your taste, the price of other product, your income, weather, your age, your gender, a lot of things, your status, your promotion in office. A lot of things can affect your demand. But as far as you are stating it as a law, you need to tell us everything remain constant. So all these factors that affect demand is what we refer to as determinant of demand. Determinant of demand. What are the determinant of demand? One, we have the price of the goods. The price of the goods we are trying to buy. Goods, they are our own income. The income, our salary. We explain the meaning of income, your salary, your wages, your dividend, your rent, anything that comes to you. That's what we call income. I think you can explain it now. Then the price of the substitute. Okay, if you substitute product have a lower price, the demand for a product, another product will drop. If A and B are substitute, when the price doesn't want to go up, then the quantity demand of this one will go up. Then the price of complement, the complement that go together. So if you have a complement good that assist one another, so if the price of the complement goods also goes up, the quantity demanded will reduce. Then advertisement can affect the demand. The more you advertise, the more you are trying to convince people to persuade them to buy your product. Then likewise, population. That is why some of the developing nations like Nigeria, for example, are market for developed nations, because we have population to consume as many as possible items are available in our country. Then we also have consumer expectation. For example, you expect maybe during a festive period, there will be a kind of increase in price of product. The next thing to do is to demand now, so as to at least to save yourself some certain amount of resources. Then climatic factor. During rainy season, we know some products are there, people will demand for them during rainy season than the dry season. Likewise, there are some products that have higher demand at the dry season more than rainy season. So these are things that the law of demand says we should hold constant. We should hold all this constant by the time you state your law of demand. Now, please take note. By the time we move further, we still come out to make one or two clarifications. But based on this particular determinant, let's show you what we refer to as demand function. Demand function represents demand curve. It represents a demand curve, and what it's saying is that the quantity demanded of a product X is a function of the price of that particular X, the price of Y, the income of the buyer, and some other factor like weather, age, gender, population, and some other things. That's what we say here. So this is the way of explaining all those things we mentioned in the previous slide in a functional way here. QSD is quantity demanded of commodity S. It's a function of the price of commodity S. Are we okay? And it's a function of the price of the substitute, income, and any other variable affecting demand. There are many of them. We mentioned some of them last time. Now, before we take up some of these past questions, it is better for us to quickly distinguish between two components. That is very, very important. One of them is what we call the change in quantity demanded and change in demand. Now, let's first of all explain the meaning of change in quantity demanded. It is the changes along demand curve. That is a decrease or increase in demand or quantity demanded based on price only, based on price of the commodity. We have explained in the previous slide that what determines price or demand are these factors. However, the price of commodity of the goods itself, please, not the price of substitute, the price of good itself only explain the changes in quantity demanded. Only price of the commodity. For example, if I have commodity X, the price of S is the one that will determine the quantity demanded. Please take note, not price of Y, not weather, not age, not gender, not income. Is the price. So if the price is the only factor that makes us to buy a certain quantity of item, then what we are going to refer to is, what we are saying is that we are dealing with what we call change in quantity demanded. And this is how we explain it with graph. When the price is 6 naira, for example, I have 7 items. When the price goes to 10, I have 4. So there's a fall here when the price goes up here. So that is exactly A to B. It's moved from A to B because increase in quantity due to the decrease in price. That's another way of looking at it. You can start from here to here, you go the other way around. Are we okay? Whereas the change in demand, as we said, are caused or is basically caused by other factor apart from the price. Please, apart from the price. So the demand will shift. The demand is not change along the same curve. The demand will shift from one particular line to another curve. You can see it move here. And remember here it talk about normal goods. It is a goods that we have. This is a sample of normal goods. Take note, we defined the normal goods before. That is a good where increases, where demand quantity demanded increases whenever there is an increase in income. Here now, maybe income is the factor here. Then we quickly have a demand shift. So if the curve of demand shifts from one point to another point, we call it increase in demand or change in demand, not change in quantity demanded. So let's look at the factor again that can cause the shift in demand. One of them is societal income, your income, price of other goods, the taste, the expectation, the population, then the taxes and subsidy. Please take note. Taxes will reduce the demand. Please, it will reduce demand. Taxes reduce demand. Subsidy increases demand. Please take note of that. By that, government give you more tax, then you buy lesser, you have lesser income to buy. But when they give you subsidy, then you have more to buy. Then also your income. I've defined income. An increase in income will increase demand for normal goods. I've mentioned it. An increase in income will decrease demand for inferior goods. Price of other goods. When the goods are substituted, when the price of substitute goods fall, demand fall for the goods which price have not changed. Yes, if the price of A will reduce, then the quantity of B will reduce. If the price, if its own price also remain. When the price of commodity, when the price of a complement goods fall, okay, the demand rise for the other goods will remain unchanged, because I'm not going to bother. Demand rise for the other goods. Look at it here. I have a complement goods. What are the complement goods? The goods that we use together. Okay, the goods that we use together. So if the price of car should reduce now, then demand for petrol will increase. Do you get logic? So if the car price crash in the automobile market, then people will buy more car, then they demand for more petrol. Okay, now even if the price of petrol remains unchanged, people will still buy more petrol because they can take more of car. Then if you look at the taste, a change in taste will increase demand with no change in price. If I have interest in a particular product, my taste, maybe I join it more, or I have opportunity to enjoy it more, then I can buy more of it. Then we also have expectation. If you expect your income to rise, you may consume more now. If you expect your price to fall in future, you may also put off purchase. If you also expect price to increase in future, you can also buy now. So these are possibility of this. Now let's look at this graphically, especially for your YS student and JAMB student. When I have higher income, I just want to explain some of these points with graphs so that we can appreciate it better. I have higher income, decrease in demand for inferior goods. You see, here is my initial graph. Now when my income increases or decreases, when my income when my income increases, then the demand for inferior goods decreases. You can see this is my A, demand A, it go to B, because this product is an inferior product. That's the summary. However, higher income increases demand for normal goods. When I have A here, I will go to B. This is a normal product. Take note of that, please. Young student, YS student, examiner can say explain the difference between normal and inferior product graphically. This is what examiner wants you to do. Once you draw this graph and you put this statement, you get your full marks. Now, the price, the change in the price, what do you call it, of the complement goods. Okay, now the complement goods we are using maybe chicken, for example, and what do you call it, and the other product here. We also have hamburger here also. So this is our hamburger here. Okay, the price move from here to here. What happened here? This is a complement goods. Okay, this is a complement goods. When the price of this item move, it increases. What happened to the quantity here? People will not buy this because these two are complement. Okay, they go together. When the price increase here, I will demand for low, I will demand for less here. But if this product is a substitute product, by the time the price goes up here, people will go and buy this. Look at logic now. People will buy this one. People will buy more of this. That's why there's a outward shift in demand curve. So I hope you are getting we are getting it. Here is our normal product. This is a product of interest. Okay. However, the price moves from here to here. It complement. Normally, these products go together. Now, since the price of this one increased, people will buy less of this. They will use less of this also. Automatically, that will be low. That will be fall in demand. However, this one is a substitute to this product. When the demand drop, then the people will shift to chicken from the hamburger. Then the demand here will shift. That does not mean that the price of this one has changed. The price of this one will remain constant. People are still buying at the same price. You can see they are still buying at the same price. It's not like the price fall. Okay, it's only that they are reacting to what happened to the substitute or complement product. So those are just elementary. Let's quickly take care of some of these past questions while we have them. You can see the examiner say in 2001, question number 12, in demand curve, the relationship between price and quantity and quantity is inverse. We mentioned it. Then in 2002, the demand for factors of production is an example of before you can produce, you must jointly demand for all. Then in 2003, I have to take a little bit so that I can trace. We are told that for an inferior product, a decrease in real income will lead to what? Inferior. When your income decrease, what happens? We have what? Low equilibrium price. We are not talking about that one. There will be a change in quantity demanded. Is it possible? Quantity demanded, that should not be, because income does not call a change in quantity demanded. Are we okay? What happened to your inferior product? These are products that you have, you buy more of it when you have a lower income. Therefore, there will be outward shift, not inward. Outward shift in your demand curve. We've said it the other time that whenever you have when a particular product is an inferior product, you consume more of it when your income is low. But when your income increases, then you consume less of it. So the demand for this particular item will go out, will be like this because income has dropped. We also have this question number 15. The price of a car is determined by, how do you determine price of a car? It's the demand and supply that will determine, but we have not discussed the demand. It's a function of demand and supply that will determine your demand. We mentioned that when we come to the concept of equilibrium price. Now let's also look at this in 2015, the same question number 38. If the quantity demanded, please, quantity demand, not demand, quantity demanded for a commodity in 2010 is 300, in 2012 is 500. Quantity demanded. What we call a change in quantity demanded is the only price. Examiner was so smart here. They don't say change in demand. If they say change in demand, these are the potential option. These are all potential options, but they say quantity demanded. They want to convince you. You can say, is it taste? Maybe in 2010 things have changed. In 2015, 12, population has increased. Technology has changed, but they say in quantity demanded. Take note of that word. We've told you change in demand and change in quantity demanded. Here is caused only by price. Here is caused by other factor except price. So price is the major thing here. For Y student, the examiner also asked in May-June 2011, question number 7, that we should explain the term competitive demand and the complementary demand, which I believe we might understand that. The examiner also wants us to, with the diagram, to analyze the effect of decrease in import duty. When the import duty decreases, are we okay? What happens on car and on the import duty on car, on the price and the consumption of the petrol? So, for example, what they are saying is that this is what we call a complementary product. Now, if these products are complementary, car and petrol, and there is a decrease in the duty on this particular product, what happens to the commodity, the consumption of this? It will increase. Okay, it will increase. So it will be like this. It will go up, but not the price. No. It will be like this. Something like this. We move from D1 to D2. This is what the examiner wants us to know, because the product here is complementary product, and we have discussed that. By the time there is a fall, it goes like subsidy. When you are giving subsidy, then you might need to understand this. So this is what examiner we have in Y. You can also look at your past question and do more of this. Before we round up this particular lecture, I would like to introduce you to the next concepts we are going to discuss. Both we are going to discuss them briefly here, and the next presentation we are going to do more of them is the concept of elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand is defined as the responsiveness of the quantity demanded of goods to change in one of the variables on which demand depend. What we say is that to what extent, what the degree of reaction of quantity demanded of a particular good to those factors that cause change in demand. we can call, we call sensitive analysis. That is how sensitive the quantity demanded of a goods is in response to changes in factor of demand. Remember, factor of demand, we have price, we have price of commodity, we have income. Are we okay? We have price of other commodity. We can even have whether, it all depends on what we want to do. But as I said, basically we are going to look at just three of these factors. These variables are price of commodity itself, the price of related commodity, and income on consumer, and other factors. Are we okay? On which demand depends. You can define, you can look at elasticity based on all the factors we have mentioned that can affect your demand, and we are going to mention some of them again to remind you. Thus, we have a price elasticity. We have what we call cross is between two products, cross elasticity of demand. We have elasticity of substitution. We also have income elasticity, and it will always price of demand that we refer to as elasticity of demand. Mostly when we talk about elasticity of demand, we talk about price. That is the changes in demand based on the price itself. Are we okay? Look at this factor. We mentioned them before. You can see one is substitute. Are we okay? These are factors affecting elasticity of demand. Please take note. It's more or less like factor that affect demand itself. Are we okay? You can see the postponement of consumption, maybe defer, proportion of your expenditure. How do you want to spend your expenditure? Nature of commodity, the different use of a commodity. Are we okay? Time period, the change in income, your habit, joint demand, your income distribution, and the price level. Are we okay? So these are factors you can explain whenever examiner asks you. As I said, we are going to do more of this. I'm just trying to introduce you to this concept. Now, the price, we are going to focus mainly on three components here. Price elasticity, measure how quantity demanded of a goods changes in relation to the price changes. That is the change in price itself, or it may be defined as percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price. People call it percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price. We are going to see it more detail in the subsequent presentation that I encourage you to watch out for. The income elasticity of demand. This one is price elasticity of demand. This one is income. Is a degree of responsiveness of quantity demanded of a good to small change in income. If income of consumers will change, what happened to that particular product? Ask yourself, is it an inferior product or a normal product? You must take note of that also. We are going to look at the implication of inferior product and normal product on this. Then, if the proportion of the income spent on a good remains same as income increases, then the elasticity or the income elasticity for that particular good is equal to 1. We are going to discuss that detail. What we call type of elasticity is equal to 1, greater than 1, less than 1. But of course, you can look at what we have here for you, most especially for the YX student and JAMB student, and even NECO student also, because these are things that come frequently in your multiple choice questions in that particular exam. Now, the last item we are going to consider is concept of cross elasticity of demand. It is a change in demand for one goods in response to the change in demand of another goods represent a cross elasticity of demand of the former goods. For example, I can say the change in demand for commodity S as a result of change in price of commodity Y. Here is a Q. Are we okay? Here is the change in the quantity demand, the change in quantity demanded of commodity S over change in quantity in the price of commodity Y. That's what we call a cross elasticity. Instead of looking at it from the same compartment, we look at it from different compartments. So we are going to do more of this also when we come the issue of cross elasticity. We must go, are they substitute? Are they complementary? So we must see detail of this in our subsequent lecture. Before I leave you for today, I would also like you to play around with some of these multiple choice question that I've provided for you from your past question, and I hope you are getting the question as expected. When you when you select a correct answer, you see the green, the green light with you say the green color. But if you don't get it right, you can continue try. I will give you opportunity to try, so you can go through them one after the other, and be able to pick the correct option that we hope it will guide you just to prepare you for your forthcoming exam. Please feel free to contact us through our website, and also follow us on our WhatsApp number that I hope you have. You can fill the address of this particular tutor house. That is as www.scoreboosterproject.com, where I believe as to how to join the group proper. Now, from this point, we can now round up this particular presentation for today, and we expect you to watch out for the next video, when we are going to do more detail. I told you, I only introduced you to elasticity of demand. We are going to illustrate with the graph, with figures, and determine we are going to look at changes. We have looked at the effect of changes in determinant of the demand. We have looked at determinant here, but the changes in this determinant, what will be, what happen to elasticity of demand, the importance of elasticity of demand to the household, producer, and the government. Everybody is involved in this particular project. You must understand also. Also, we will look at the difference between a shift and movement along the demand curve, especially regarding the concept of elasticity of demand. We have discussed this one briefly here. We are going to look at more of it as it might affect the elasticity of demand. So we expect you to watch out for this, as we are going to give you more past question and suggested solution by your examiner, or by or based on our own research effort. Now we join you to like our to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and share our video with your colleagues. We wish you best of luck in your forthcoming exam, and we implore you to watch out for the next presentation on this important subject. Thank you.